Johnny Depp has given a bombshell interview where he discusses frankly his struggles with depression, money and his love for drugs including quaaludes. The actor spoke candidly to Rolling Stone about how his tumultuous split from wife Amber Heard sent him plummeting into a deep depression which has been compounded by his financial woes. The interview took place in London earlier this year before he was seen looking worryingly thin and gaunt in Russia during a tour with his band the Hollywood Vampires. It was published on Thursday as he continues to fight with his former managers at the Mandel Company, along with former bodyguards who say he owes them money. It was set up by his new lawyer, Waldman, who is a lobbyist for the Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska. Depp has lost almost all of his $600 million fortune and, according to the interview, is desperate to explain how saying the truth is full of betrayal. He hired Waldman after severing ties with his long-term manager Joel Mendel in 2016. The star became emotional, according to the writer, when he described how his son learned about his money problems from other children. "My son had to hear about how his old man lost all his money from kids at school. That's not right," he said. "My son had to hear about how his old man lost all his money from kids at school. That's not right." Speaking of his separation from Heard and the state he was in afterwards, he said, "I was as low as I believe I could have gotten. The next step was, you're going to arrive somewhere with your eyes open, and you're going to leave there with your eyes closed. I couldn't take the pain every day," he said, describing his darkest moment which fell in 2016 as his marriage to Heard collapsed. His money was fast disappearing, and his mother had died. "Betty Sue, I worshipped her. She could be a real bee on wheels," he said, recalling what he said at her funeral. "My mom was maybe the meanest human being I have ever met in my life." He decided to cope with the pain of it all by going on tour with his band, the Hollywood Vampires, and writing a memoir. "I poured myself a vodka in the morning and started writing until the tears filled my eyes and I couldn't see the page anymore. I kept trying to figure out what I'd done to deserve this. I tried being kind to everyone, helping everyone, being truthful to everyone. The truth is most important to me. And all this still happened," he said. His marriage to Heard was not what his sister, Christi, or others in his close circle wanted him to pursue. They warned him, according to the interview, not to get married without a prenuptial agreement, but he proceeded anyway and spent $1 million on a wedding on his Bahamian island. Cut off from his family because of it and having severed ties with his long-term managers and friends, he has spent the last 2 years alone. He was honest about his drug use, describing how he loved quaaludes and used to find bootleg versions once they had faded from the party scene. They're made with just a little bit of arsenic or strychnine, so the high was far more immediate. You either wanted to smile and just be happy with your pals or ever fight," he said. Depp also sought to explain how his money had been pillaged. "I was as low as I believe I could have gotten. The next step was, you're going to arrive somewhere with your eyes open, and you're going to leave there with your eyes closed. I couldn't take the pain every day between supporting his ex-wife Vanessa Paradis, their children, his own family in Kentucky who, he claims, spent wildly on his dime, and his own extravagant habits. The money simply dwindled. It is what is at the root of his ongoing lawsuit against his former management company. He claims they misappropriated and mismanaged his funds while rewarding themselves handsomely. If there were things for me to sign that would come in, and there would be occasionally, I would sign them like this," says Depp, pantomiming signing an imaginary paper with his right hand while his head was swiveled far to the left, staring into the London gloom. "I don't want to fucking see what they are because I trust these people. Now I look right at everything I sign," the article said. His managers say he was an out-of-control spendthrift who drank all of his wine investments. "Wine is not an investment if you drink it as soon as you buy it," they said in their lawsuit. He responded their claim that it was $30,000 a month. "It's insulting to say that I spent $30,000 on wine because it was far more. Speaking of his family and the death of his mother Betty Sue, he said, "Their thinking is that I'm going to take care of them forever, and that the farm is now theirs." He didn't make that promise, he said. It was his management's job, he said, to cut off his family's credit cards when their spending got out of control, something that was never done. "That's what I am paying them for," he said. He said he had no clue that he was in such dire straits, particularly over his late tax payments, for which he eventually had to pay $5.6 million in late fees. "I just had no clue. If you're knowingly not paying the United States government taxes, somebody is gonna catch up with you and hand you a bill, and you'll probably go to the pokey," he said. "I just had no clue. If you're knowingly not paying the United States government taxes, somebody is gonna catch up with you and hand you a bill, and you'll probably go to the pokey elsewhere." He described how he would discuss his destructive lifestyle with late friend Tom Petty, telling the magazine, "We'd call each other and ask, 'Hey, you still smoking?' Tom would go, 'Yeah, I'm still smoking,' and I'd feel better. Well, if Tom is still smoking, I'm okay." Petty died in October 2017, and the loss was devastating to Depp. He also spoke of Harvey Weinstein, who he called a bully and who shut down one of his movies. "He was a bully. Have you seen his wife? It's not a wide range. It's not like he went, 'I must go to the Poconos to find some hairy-backed bee,'" he said. He then told how he once went with the mogul to collect his daughter from school and how he was stunned by how affectionate he was towards her. "The image that took my breath away was Harvey Weinstein, a Goliath Shrek thing, bending down to put on his daughter's raincoat," he said. He pawns off the bulk of his legal woes to his attorneys, saying, "I'm just a small part of this. It's the Matrix. I didn't see the movie and I didn't understand the script, but here's what it is." Towards the end of the interview, the author described him recalling his childhood and explaining that he never meant to hurt anyone. "I have never, ever in my life, been the bully kid. I never went out of my way to hurt anybody. When I was a little kid, what I was taught was never start a fight, but if somebody tags you or invades your world, finish the fight. To my mom's exact words, lay them out with a brick."